All right, everybody, come on in, come on in. Welcome back to another Wild Card Wednesday with Maggie and Lucy, Maggie Lou, Thelma and Louise, Cagney and Lacey, Ebony and Ivory, Kid and Play, whatever you want to call us. We are actually the proud founders of the Finishing School for the Modern Woman, where we teach ladies of all ages about etiquette, elegance, and femininity. If you're interested in joining us in our advanced class, you can see the coupon code down below. It is Wife Archetypes, and that will be 4 weeks of wife lessons in November. So we would love to have you all with us. Go to teachablemomentswithmaggie.com for the details, or it's in the description. As our way of giving back, we love to come on with you all twice a week and react to different content from our own perspective. We are traditional women with over 40 years of combined marriage experience. So if you're interested in that, maybe we are the matriarchs that are missing in your life if your mom didn't teach you how to be a good woman to a good man. I'm Maggie, the substitute teacher. I make food and femininity content. Lucy, please introduce yourself and let us know, what are we reacting to tonight?
Hi, Maggie. Hola, everyone. So I'm Lucy. I have a channel that this year is focused on content about elegance, femininity, and things that impact women of a certain age. But tonight we are going to see something really interesting, and I think, and I wanted to have this reaction to this one because on our last live setting, we talked about the red flags from the happy housewife, and one of the red flags is this. So we're going to talk about it, and it's going to be interesting how to connect the dots.
All right, everybody. So buckle up, Buttercup. We see you all coming through in the chat. Thank you all so much for being here. So here is your disclaimer. This is about a 10-minute video. We are going to play and pause and give you all our feedback as older women teaching the young. If you want to watch the entire video uninterrupted, it's always linked in the description. And again, like I said, Lucy and I believe in traditional gender roles here. So if you like to do something else, that's fine. You can do that over there. You probably won't be happy over here. So with that being said, this is another Suzanne Venker video, and it is Never Marry a Feminist. So we are going to react to this. I'm going to mute myself, share my screen, and then as always, we love to know what you all think in the chat, and we'll bring you into the conversation. All right, let's get into it.
Hey, Slater Crusaders, there is probably no author who I read that I say, yes, that's it, thank you, more than Suzanne Venker. Suzanne Venker's here. She's an author and relationship coach. Ms. Venker, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Does that make sense? Like, I'll read your articles and I'm like, yes, finally, that's exactly, like, I see the things you talk about. I see it out in my life. I see it in my circles, but I can't put words to it. And then I read your articles. I'm like, oh, bingo, that's it. Thank you so much. So I'm super grateful for you.
Awesome. Great. Glad. Love it.
You have a new article here. Never marry a feminist. And you're quite bold as well, Suzanne. What was the foundation of this article?
It's so easy to just get to the point.
Right, why waste time? So what started this article for you? Where did it come from?
Oh my gosh. Well, I had seen this new ad of a woman proposing to a man. And the reason why she did that is because she wanted to smash the patriarchy. And that sort of, it kind of went from there. And I was associating, I deal with this all the time. This is the stuff that I see all the time in my work, is people who are wanting to reverse roles to such a degree and having such a big degree, and then having all these problems as a result. And whenever I see these articles, I'm just like, I got to tell you what's happening on my end. I got to tell you what I'm seeing and why this doesn't work. And don't be afraid of it. We have to deal with the reality of human desire.
All right, everyone. She's coming in hot. So let's go ahead and get started. I don't know if you all heard in the beginning, this is Suzanne Venker being interviewed on another channel. And she wrote an article in reaction to an ad, which is an advertisement, which means somebody is intentionally making this content to sell something to us. And in this ad, a woman is proposing to a man. Y'all already know. And the reason she's doing it is not for the reasons that a man would propose to a woman. I want you in my life forever, committed, let's raise a family, leave a legacy together. She's proposing to stick it to the patriarchy. I just think that speaks volumes as to how far we've come. So I'll just say this whole women proposing to men, I just think it is so far beyond. And here's the reason why, ladies. And Suzanne is going to talk about this in the article when she talks about human desire and how we have been for thousands of years. And as a boy mom, I see this live and in living color right in front of my eyes. A man has to make himself. A man has to be able to take care of himself, and then also be able to take care of a woman and potential family. That then and only then does he have the ability and maybe even the right to ask a woman to come and support the vision that he has built. If we look at it, unless ladies, you want to be the man in the relationship, that's fine. We are not willing to carry the burden for a lifetime the way a man has. We are not willing to put a plan and a program in place for a man to get on our team. And then we look at him with love and admiration when he is our support system. Maybe it works in your relationship, but I think, like she said, this is the reason why a lot of women are struggling trying to put the cart before the horse. What would you add, Lucy?
Yes, and the interesting part about that is that she talked about a commercial, an ad. That goes back to how we are brainwashed by the things that are presented in our media, social media, radio, everywhere around us. That a young girl could see that and they're like, okay, I guess it's accepted. And another thing is that smashing the patriarchy. What are you saying? What is that? Do you realize what that means? Do you realize that once the patriarchy is gone, we are done? And it's because, and you say that because God, thank God, it's not going to happen yet. But what if it happens? I don't want to be part of that. You smash the patriarchy somewhere else, not around my area. I love my men. I love, masculine men. I love those men that have that testosterone that create a world and that can protect us. Get away from me with that nonsense.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what you all are saying in the chat. We have Beak here and Killis is here. Thank you all so much for being here. The Condemned is in here. Hello, everyone coming through. Our moderators, we have Erin Laura, Escape the Rat Race. You all are loving the title and you're here for Maggie Lou. Yeah, this is our way of giving back. We definitely want to share. The Clue channel says the patriarchy is awesome. I think, ladies, and there was another article that Lucy had me watch on I would say the lack of foresight that especially a lot of young women, then when they just latch on to, let's burn it all down. Be careful what you wish for. I mean, we love the men in our community. They support us. Yes, I got a couple videos going viral right now. And it's mainly because the men are saying, finally, ladies, we do not want them to take their ball and go home. It would be a very, very different world So yes, we support them here. And yeah, I guess I did. Did I do something? All right. So I'll try and go easy. Not really. Y'all, we're just going to tell the truth here. Erin Laura says, I hope she's willing to smash the patriarchy when the house catches on fire or a burglar breaks in. That part right there. And ladies, if you think, oh, I can do it all by myself, I beg to differ. Maybe you don't have a man and that's fine. You're happy with that. But when you dial 911, I know you have a vision of who's going to answer that call. And it's not somebody that looks like me. I cannot help you. I told y'all, Maggie is like memory foam. I'm not lifting nothing, carrying nothing. No. So just be careful. All right, let us continue.
Oh, so good. Okay, I want to get back to human desire. I love this line. You say, when it comes to love and marriage, couples typically fall into one of two groups: those who embrace tradition and those who do not. What are some traditions? How do we embrace tradition? And then what are some ways that those who don't?
So I always struggle with that word because people don't exactly always know what that means. But all I basically mean is that there's a reason why relationships have always functioned along traditional, conventional roles very easily. And that is because men and women are biologically different. We are not equal as in the same, which is what equality has come to mean. And all we have to do is look down to see how different we are. And those differences that we have anatomically are also up here in our head, the way we think, the way we behave, what we want, what we desire, what we need. And there is no attention paid to that. But if you are schooled in those differences, you're going to find your relationship to be very, very smooth sailing. And the more you are fighting against that, the more you're going to struggle. And with that particular concept of women proposing to men, and her reasoning for it was to smash the patriarchy, I was trying to say, look, if you're going to enter marriage already from the get-go with this attitude that it's a patriarchal institution, rather than understanding that it's really based on biological differences, you're never going to make it. That's the bottom line. Because your attitude going in is absolutely, first of all, it's not true, and it's also very negative.
All right, so I want to unpack this one. I'm really excited that she talked about biological differences. Again, do what you want to, do it over there. But when we look at how human beings have been in marriages and families and communities for thousands of years, I think it's very short-sighted of us in the modern world. We have all of our conveniences and we love them, right? We're not trying to go back to the Stone Age. But ladies, don't fool yourself that this convenient world that we live in has changed the basic biology of men and women. And when you look at people who do other things to their body, and that's fine, that's their body, their brain is still the same. So when she talks about we are not equal, and you all have heard me say that we are not equal, we are equally valued, but we are very different. And I think our differences are beautiful when we come together because we have strengths that men don't have, and men have strengths that we don't have. She also said, if you were raised or if you were schooled or studied on those differences, this is why the nuclear family is so important. Lucy and I are both immigrants and we come from traditional nuclear families, mom, dad together 50, 60, 100 years. But what that means is that you see the example growing up as a child, and you don't even know that you're being taught when you watch how mom and dad interact with each other. And of course, we're not talking about anything crazy, but just the typical day to day, you see, okay, this is what dads do. This is what moms do. We're not just parents. There is a difference. And like I said, having boys and watching them the way they tell me, Mom, stop babying me. But they say, okay, Dad, he's so mean. There's even in the language choice, they realize that there's something different about what we desire. And it comes from our biology. The long and short of it is you cannot change it. You can either accept with grace or you can exit with grace. Nobody's going to fight you if you want to be alone. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree. And right now we're trying to change that biology, and it's not working out for these people that are pretending that things could be something that they're not. And unfortunately, once they realize, it's going to be too late for them. Another thing is that the ad asks the woman asking the man, it's another way to, in a very subtle way, to emasculate the man, to not give him the opportunity to be the one that says, I choose you. The woman decides. And, hope I have seen a couple of those. They do not go well for the ladies, because the men say, what are you doing? Why are you embarrassing me in front of all of these people? Because for whatever reason, women think that the world is going to cave to their little needs, to their needs and their desires, and because they want to do it the way they want to do it, but reality hits them hard. And unfortunately, these women trying to come into a relationship being the ones that are the leads, you might get one of those men that accept it at the beginning, but you're going to resent it later on, because deep inside, as women, we want our men to lead us in our homes.
Absolutely. All right, let's see what you all are saying in the chat. Erin Laura was talking about the patriarchy until a burglar smashes in. Clue Channel says they want to smash the patriarchy until there's a war. You all remember the war in Ukraine, and we do not get political here, but I'm just saying, when the you-know-what hits the fan, they sent the women and children to safety, and the men and the young men were expected to stay and fight, maybe until the death. Regardless of what side you're on, I don't remember seeing any women saying, no, please, allow me. I want to be at the front lines. All of them got to wherever they were supposed to go and hope and pray that their loved ones make it back. So ladies, let's be honest about what we're really willing to do. Bert says she's looking for a security blanket. Ugh. The Condemned says, I've seen what a household run by women with submissive men looks like. It is frightening to behold, especially when I see how the children are being raised. This is so true, ladies. And, I have shared with you all my story time and time again, as a reformed modern woman who thought all my accomplishments mattered. They didn't. And the boys were with me until they were in high school. Now they live with their dad, and they are the better for it. And it was a huge check to my ego, because I think I'm super mom, but the best mom in the world. I cannot raise men. And believe me, they are becoming young men right before all of our eyes. We have Swab D already with the $10. Thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate it. So grateful. Yes, thank you for always supporting. So consistent. Bert says, according to the Bible, the man is supposed to be the man of the relationship. I agree and I believe. However, even if you are of a different faith, we've had the rabbi on here. We even have people who maybe don't believe in anything but our natural biology, and that's what she's going to talk about in this video. We're just wired differently. Escape the Rat Race says, I saw one where the man told the woman to stand up off of her knees, and he walked out of the party. Well, that's not the engagement story I'd want to tell at a party, but let us continue.
Well, I had seen this new ad of a woman proposing to a man. And the reason why she did that is because she wanted to smash the patriarchy. And that sort of, it kind of went from there. And I was associating, I deal with this all the time. This is the stuff that I see all the time in my work, is people who are wanting to reverse roles to such a degree and having such a big degree, and then having all these problems as a result. And whenever I see these articles, I'm just like, I got to tell you what's happening on my end. I got to tell you what I'm seeing and why this doesn't work. And don't be afraid of it. We have to deal with the reality of human desire.
Oh, so good. Okay, I want to get back to human desire. I love this line. Okay. You say, when it comes to love and marriage, couples typically fall into one of two groups: those who embrace tradition and those who do not. What are some traditions? How do we embrace tradition? And then what are some ways that those who don't?
So I always struggle with that word because people don't exactly always know what that means. But all I basically mean is that there's a reason why relationships have always functioned along traditional, conventional roles very easily. And that is because men and women are biologically different. We are not equal as in the same, which is what equality has come to mean. And all we have to do is look down to see how different we are. And those differences that we have anatomically are also up here in our head, the way we think, the way we behave, what we want, what we desire, what we need. And there is no attention paid to that. But if you are schooled in those differences, you're going to find your relationship to be very, very smooth sailing. And the more you are fighting against that, the more you're going to struggle. And with that particular concept of women proposing to men, and her reasoning for it was to smash the patriarchy. I was trying to say, look, if you're going to enter marriage already from the get-go with this attitude that it's a patriarchal institution, rather than understanding that it's really based on biological differences, you're never going to make it. That's the bottom line. Because your attitude going in is absolutely, first of all, it's not true, and it's also very negative.
What does that attitude do to the man in the marriage?
So a man's desire and need to provide for and protect his family is innate. It is that way whether it's 1919 or 2019, or I guess we're 2020 now. I got to start saying that. So it doesn't, that doesn't go away. So just because we change as a society doesn't have anything to do with human nature. Human nature doesn't change. So a man's desire to provide is crucial to his identity. And when women don't understand that and try to reverse it and become the protector and the providers of the family, pretty much all hell breaks loose, because you're setting up a relationship dynamic where the man is more your son than your hero.
Wow.
Right?
Oh, sorry, I cut you off here. Let me. Okay. So that you create a dynamic where the husband becomes more your son as opposed to the hero. Wow, that's so good, Suzanne. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
All right, y'all, let's unpack this. Sorry, I went back a little bit further. That was huge. I love it when Lucy says men want to be our heroes. But if you listen to her, again, we talked about the biological differences. And these ladies, it's only going to get stronger over time. I remember being that 20-something headstrong, thinking I'm going to change the world. Now, at almost 50, I'm ready to grow old gracefully. So if you are beating back your natural desires, that drumbeat is only going to get louder and louder. And I love that she said, men have an innate desire to protect and provide for their families. So number one, you need to be the woman that he sees as family. Men are not going to protect and provide for any random person, but when they claim you as their own, they will fight tooth and nail to the death to make sure that the family that they've created is taken care of. And that's why it's so important, one, that we show appreciation for what they're able to do. And I never said women don't work, I work, but you want to make sure that you're able to keep your professional accomplishments or whatever you think that you have as not competing with your man. Ask me how I know, because if he doesn't feel like that biological imperative in him is met, that's when you see men either give up or go a different way, or just, tension starts. And that's not the kind of marriage that you want. What would you add, Lucy?
And the interesting thing is that was 4 years ago, 2020. We're in 2024, and we're still seeing this plus more. So when I see these girls or these young ladies saying, where have the good men gone? The good men are not going to approach you if you have that feminist type, smash the patriarchy, I can do all by myself and all of that stuff. Men are you're going to be, that's a repellent to them. All they want is for a woman to love them and to to create a good relationship. You know, we're meant to be together. We are wired differently to be together. So again, it's just a shame that all that those years of, you know, it's pretty much brainwashing has gotten to these young women that now they're seeing the result, and it's not good.
Absolutely. Let's see what you all are saying in the chat. So Killa says, I talked about that settling clip. Well, I'm glad it touched a nerve because it's true. I said what I said, right? The Clue Channel is saying, why is your mind on politics during your proposal? And yes, I mean, maybe this was staged for an advertisement, but true. Like Suzanne said, if you're going into a marriage believing that there's a patriarchy that you need to conquer, you've already lost out. Absolutely. All right, you all are saying hello to each other. Let's see if there's any comments in here. Thank you all so much for the, yeah, everybody showing up. You all came in. Welcome in, everyone. All right, let's see if there's anything else. Samuel says, I married not only a feminist, but also a climate cultist, and I learned my lesson. Double whammy. The Condemned says, the way many women are talking like they can be men nowadays, we are retiring our capes. So ladies, this is what you asked for, and you're actually getting the opposite of what you want. You think you can shame men into being what you want. You think you can talk down to them. I have actually heard women say, you got to, you know, talk down to them. You got to basically get in their behind like their mother. That's the only way to make them do right. If that's the kind of relationship you have had with the caliber of men that you have dated or been married to, I don't know what to say. But the masculine men that we want, like Condemned says, they're just not going to tolerate it. And so if you see yourself repelling the men that you want, maybe you should ask yourself why. Let's go back in.
Yeah, well, I mean, who wants to have sex with their son or their mother, right? I mean, that's not how it's supposed to work. So the more you allow yourself to be cared for and protected and provided by a man, the more that sexual relationship is going to flourish. Now, this gets into tricky territory because people will say, well, how are we going to do that with the way the world's changed so much and women are working? And the argument isn't that women don't ever enter the marketplace. The idea is to understand, how are we going to marry, or figure out rather, how are you going to marry that new reality with the reality of human nature that doesn't change? We have to figure out, you have to figure out for yourself in your own relationships, in your own marriage, how to do that. All I know is that from my end, for like, all of my coaching sessions have the same underlying problem, that they entered marriage thinking that sexual equality was real. You know, equality meaning sameness or interchangeability between the sexes. And they proceeded accordingly. And after so many years have gone by, give it maybe 10 years, they're, you know, they have the kids, of course, and they're moving on with their relationship, and it's changed because they haven't allowed this traditional, what I'm using as a traditional dynamic, to flourish.
Okay, so.
All right, so I want to talk about this one, and I also want to give some tangible tips to the young ladies that might be listening. So she's basically saying here that this biological imperative that we all have, it's not going anywhere. You were either born a man or you were born a woman, full stop. So we understand that modern times have made it more difficult for especially young women who may have been brainwashed to understand, how do I make this work? So if you want a marriage that's going to last the test of time, humbly, I would offer this. Number one, only marry somebody that you respect. And that does not mean that he has to make more money than you. You can be making money, that's fine, but you have to respect him. And she said it even translates into the intimate part of your marriage. If you feel like you have somebody that you're bossing around and telling him what to do, it's not going to add to that desire that I think we should have for our husbands. Number two, listen to his leadership. Now, if he says, like I was told, hey, put some of that money away, you don't need to spend all of that, get on the program first time in a row and listen to him, because that actually conditions you to be happily submitted to his leadership. That way you're not like, well, who is he and why is he telling me what to do? Get in the habit of getting on the program early and often. If you do make money, that's fine. Learn to live maybe on one income if you can, or at least, allow him to be the final decision maker, because the 20 plus year version of yourself is not going to want to carry all the burden, is not going to want to make all the decisions, is not going to want to have that responsibility that if it's going to get done, I have to do it. So that would be my advice, ladies, if you are trying to make a traditional marriage work in modern times. What would you add, Lucy?
Yes, and being traditional is just not cosplaying. Being traditional is making sure that those values that that you believe that the man is the leader, the king of the house, should be part of who you are. You should believe that, because again, you can pretend for a little bit, but once he tells you no, that real person is gonna come back and he's gonna say, oh, so she's really not the person she said she was. So again, start changing your mind and your heart to be able to say, yeah, I want a man that's traditional, that is going to be my provider, my protector, the man of my house. And again, it feels great to have that someone else that that is going to be there for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, and it's going to be your man, the man of the house.
I absolutely love that. All right, let's see what you all are saying in the chat here. All right, so we talked about the men putting up their capes because, ladies, you told them you didn't need them, so they took their ball and went home. But for the ones that are still here, Lawrence says, no man wants to fight the world and then go home to another adversary. That is so true. Lucy's always talking about, ladies, are you an asset or are you a liability? Are you someone that's just like, sure, no problem, we can do that? Or is it always something? Does he always have to contend with you? Does he always have to debate with you? Does he always have to explain to you? Or can you just trust that the man that you married, that you look up to, that you admire, that you respect, he has your best interest at heart? And so you're happily willing to get on the program and not be the enemy within. Caucasian says conservative and progressive relationships are very difficult. I mean, look, you can do what you want. You can vote however you want to or not. But I do believe, like Lucy said, those similar values have to be there. You have to realize if you want a traditional relationship, like I said before, there are roles and you have to understand what your role in the relationship is, ladies, and what your husband's role is, and be happy with that. Or you can be by yourself or do it your own way. That's totally fine too. The clue says a man wants to come home to peace and servitude after a competitive day at work. Now, look, I know the feminists are screaming bloody murder at that, but I think when you admire your husband, at least for those of us who are traditional, it really is a joy to care for our loved ones. It really is a joy to serve and to be helpful and to be useful. If you find it difficult, maybe this isn't the type of relationship for you, and that's okay. I was talking with my man earlier today, and he said, babe, there are takers and there are givers. And we all have a little bit of everything, but he started naming names of people that I know. And he said, Lucy. And I said, oh, she's a giver. And he named other people. And I was like, ooh, yeah, she's a taker. So ladies, this has to be within you. You're not going to be able to just code switch and put on a mask, because the masculine man that you want, he will test you. He will tell you no. He will say and do something that you don't like. And then what are you going to do? Are you going to come unglued? Absolutely not. Hopefully not. Lawrence is saying, wow. All right, let's see. You all are talking in the chat. Okay. Thank you so much. Good evening, Lady C. All right. Let's go back in and see what else Suzanne has to say.
Amazing. So you mentioned a man's desire to provide and protect. What's the woman's desire?
So a woman's pretty much and again, this is a generalization. There's always exceptions to the rule. And I'm always hearing about those exceptions. I don't talk to exceptions. I want to talk to the rule. But, the majority needs attention too. Not all the minorities need all the attention. We need to focus on most people. And most people, most women, get their identity through their relationships. That's where they feel fed. That's why they're, they intuit and they relate and they want to talk endlessly and they want to feel. And that's a wonderful thing. That tends to come out through, that's sort of separate from the issue that mothering is also, for most women, an inherent desire that if they're not going to feel it at 25, they're absolutely going to feel it at 35. In fact, it's usually right around the age of 30 when all of a sudden those differences between men and women become glaring, because prior to that time, we do live kind of parallel lives. We're both working, doing our thing, go to school. But right around that age of 30, the woman's going to have this uh-oh moment that a man isn't. And at that point, you realize, wow, the ability, our reproduction really does divide us. So it's really all about sexuality, sex between a man and a woman and desire and what makes that work, as well as reproduction. And if you focus more and understand how that works, everything kind of can shift about the way you map out your life and who you want to be with and how you proceed in the relationship. It's like a game changer.
All right, so let's talk about this one. I love how she said it's all about how you map out your life. And ladies, this is true. You are in charge of your destiny. You can do or not do whatever you want. Nobody cares. But for those of you all who are interested in meaningful relationships that will last, not this experiment that we're doing right now, I love how she talked about the biology, especially at the age of 30. Those of you all who aren't yet 30, believe me, it's coming. Those of us who have long passed 30, it is a moment. I remember 30 and being happy. We didn't have kids yet, but I was married and I was looking forward to that. We put it off for some time because I went back to school and got promoted and all that. But I remember reading Psych Hack's book, and he said that the age of 30 is exactly the moment where the advantage that women have and the disadvantage that men have changes. So up until 30, ladies, you have the leverage. That's why we're always harping on it. Your youth and your beauty is your currency. Use it wisely. I am sorry to say, if you allow yourself to get to 30 plus and you have not made yourself valuable to a man, it is going to be much harder for you. Impossible, no, but you are not the prime choice. Likewise, for men through their 20s, we've been telling them you're not good enough, fast enough, strong enough, rich enough, you're ugly, all of that. And they've basically been getting kicked in the teeth and then decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to put my head down and really go out and get it. And something happens at 30. They kind of square up. They kind of, have their career, their confidence, and now they are ready to lean in. And so for those of us as women at 30, we don't see them as like, yeah, that silly guy over there. We're kind of like, oh, wow, hadn't really looked at him that way before. So make sure that you put yourself in a position, ideally before you're 30, because by then you're going to have an uh-oh moment and it really just may be too late. What would you say, Lucy?
Yeah, I love that glow up moment for men. That, when you're young, you're looking at them, they're like, oh, well, whatever. When you hit that 30, if you're not married, that's when it hits you. Because I remember hearing people saying, the 30s are 30s, but I was married at 30, so I didn't really feel it. Oh, okay, whatever. Because I had already, I was married and I was enjoying my life as a married woman at my 30s. That I'm seeing this 30 thing right now because it's a real thing with those women that do not, that put career ahead before their family life and marriage life. And then they see that men that they said no to become, somebody that is really interesting, but it's too late for you now. Now what he's looking at is somebody that looks like you at your age, not you anymore. So again, it's really interesting. That Hack book, I think people should read it. It's really it's very eye-opening, and it's clear about the differences on our biology and who we are as men and women.
Absolutely. I want to get into the chat, but I agree wholeheartedly. You all, Psych Hack's book, I had to take a moment after reading it. I mean, one of the cruxes that he said is that it's advantageous for men to hold out as long as possible because they will continue to increase in their value to what women want. The opposite is true for women. It is better for us to marry and lock it down as early as possible, because as we age, we are going to be of less value for what men want. Am I saying you're not valuable? No, but I find it fascinating that what is best for one is probably the worst case for the other. So like I always say, ladies, if you have a good one, and if you have a man that is marriage minded, I say get on the program, because same thing happened to me. I was married, at 30, and I didn't see the panic that's happening now. And ladies, I'm going to tell you, at 27, 28, for all intents and purposes, you're 30. Because when a man looks at that, if you met the man of your dreams tomorrow and everything went perfect, it's a year at least before you're married, and then another year at least before you have children, if you have it right away. And most men don't want to get married under duress. So they're not looking at you at 27, 28. They're like, oh man, yeah, she's going to be like, come on, clock is ticking. That's just not the best choice for him. Let's see what you all are saying in the chat. The Condemned says, great, good point, Maggie. One thing I learned is that some newly married folks don't talk about up front is the precedent of the relationship, the early habits that will dictate the ebb and flow going forward. Absolutely, ladies. You've heard me say it time and time again. This has to be a conversation in the beginning. I'll tell you again, only date men that you see as husband material. Anything else is a waste of your time that you do not have to waste, because there is no guarantee. We don't know if this is going to work out, but at least you get experience in a relationship with someone that you do admire and respect, as opposed to what else are you going to do? That way, when you do meet the one that you all are mutually into each other, you can get on the program quickly. So many women are trying to shape shift themselves into wife material when you've been out here doing whatever you want to do, and the man is not going to let you practice on him. So yes, from the beginning, establish it, or you're just going to be taking the long way around the mountain, and I don't think a lot of men want to do that. Gillis says, what Luke Casely said also hit home. I think that's what I did when I was younger. I just cosplayed. Wow. I just cosplayed a woman instead of being one. That hurts my heart. But ladies, it's true. Listen to the older women in the community. I think it is our responsibility, like Kevin Samuel said, the older women have to teach the young. And I think we have to teach by telling what we've done right as well as what we've done wrong. And ladies, if you know you're playing a game, the men know it too. So you're not fooling anyone, just trying to pretend like you're going to be this soft and feminine, woman. And then the minute he tells you, no, here comes Godzilla, it's not going to fly, because they will test you. And like I said, as a reformed modern woman, I had to humble myself and get on the program second time around. But I am much, much happier. So thank you for sharing that, Gillis. Gillis says, again, the young women are mostly in la la land, as I was. Lawrence says, I'm a simple guy. A hug from my wife always makes me feel at peace. I love that. Ladies, our feminine presence does so much for men. Do not underestimate that. Absolutely. Shantia says, cooking a hot meal for my family, buying gifts. It's my joy. I love that. Thank you all so much for sharing. Lady C is agreeing. All right, let's go back in and then I'll come back to the chat.
Wow. Okay. So what about when you do have kids? You mentioned, I think in this article, or maybe one of your others, I'm putting them together. How does having kids change or reveal the dynamics?
Because the way you're going to parent, if you're a woman, is to mother. And the way you're going to parent, if you're a man, is to father. And mothering and fathering are distinct things. They're not the same. We shouldn't call it parenting. We should call it mothering and fathering. So a mother is going to want to hold and caress and take care of. And of course, it all starts with doing that, right? Because you're physically feeding them from your body. And it just proceeds from there, where you're going to be, as a mother, more concerned with, oh, how's my little child feeling? Or, whereas the husband's more about rough and tumble play and, get up if you get hurt and move forward. And there's just a whole different way of doing things. And then on top of that, women want to work less once they have children, and men want to work more. I mean, when you have a child, your first instinct is to, oh my gosh, I got to take care of this child. I got to figure out money-wise how I'm going to protect them and provide for them. A mom's first instinct is to take care of him emotionally. How am I going to do that? So again, right away, you're already thinking differently about your work-life balance, all those things you were thinking about prior to having kids, differently once the kids come along. That's why you see women pulling away from the workforce once they have kids, and men don't do that.
I absolutely love this. This is so honest. And ladies, we just need to see it. We just need to say it. This is why men do not care about your career, do not care about your big salary, do not care about your promotion, because naturally our biology makes us want to work less for other people and nurture our own family. So go out there, that's fine, get those big degrees, become the partner, do all that stuff that you want to do for a career that's 5 or 7 years, maybe 10, because you're going to want to be home with your children. That's normal. Maybe you don't, that's fine. But I love what she said about a man's natural instinct when he has a child is to go get it, to go slay, to go hunt, to go make sure I have provisions, I bring home the kill so that my family is taken care of. That is his natural instinct. Likewise, we as women, when we have a child, we are nesting, we are caretaking, we are making sure the baby is fed, the family is warm and comfortable. This is just naturally who we are. You can fight it if you want to, but this is why I think you see so many women, like she said, that have put career ahead. You end up struggling with fighting against your own instinct. So I'm so happy that someone is actually saying it. What would you add, Lucy?
And it also goes back to the importance of having the father and the mother at home, because girls, if you have a girl, if you have a son, the dynamics when you're handling your kids is different. Again, I can't say that because I don't have any kids, but I have seen it in real life with my sisters, my nephews, and my nieces, how, we are naturally mothering and we just want to, our boy falls and it's like, oh, he fell. Whereas the dad goes, no, walk it off. It's okay. So again, it's completely different that, men teach their boys to be men from really early on. And we teach, we are the nurturers to a point. It's always good to have that dad that says, okay, that's enough of the babying. It's time for him to pick it up and walk it off. And I remember seeing this video about this lady telling her son, you're not going to go to bed. And then the son is fighting with her. The second the dad says, you're going to bed now, the boy stopped and he went to his room. So again, the difference that it makes to have that dad in the home is so important. And again, I don't have it with me. I do see it when, I'm trying to baby my dogs and my husband comes in and he doesn't. So that would be, it's interesting because I always think, God, if we had a little baby Lucy and a baby, Jeff, that's my husband's name. It would be so beautiful to do. But again, we don't have it. It didn't happen. But I do see it outside, how important it is to have that father and mother, just different ways to deal with their children.
Yes, that is true. You all, the first few years of my life, 2 boys, they're now 17 and 15. This was me. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And not only my ex-husband, but every man that I talked to, work, barbershop, whatever. Oh, that's nothing. I did that. Set the backyard on fire, tied something to the dog and put a wagon on him. Oh, he'll be all right. See this scar right here? As a mother, you're terrified. But this is what boys need. Believe me. We have one that's on his way to the Marines now, and it's not because of me. Every time I do something, he's like, Mom, stop babying me. And I'm just kind of like, okay, but that's what they need. Let's see what you all are saying in the chat. Suave D says, many women act as if their prime continues past 30 plus. They foolishly believe their prime is infinite. Ladies, 30 is not the new 20, 40 is not the new 30, 50 is not the new 40, and 60 is not the new 50. Youth, I think in Psych Hack's book, he said, it's like a flower. It blooms and then it's gone. So that's fine. Men will still appreciate us and love us as we age if they had the benefit of our youth and when we were in our prime. All right. E.T. says a real wife, not a fake trad wife when it comes to value. Yeah, Lucy talked about that. And if you're faking anything, any character, it will come out in time. Nobody can wear the mask infinitely. And this is why men vet, and this is why they wait, and this is why they test us, as they should, because they're putting their life on the line. They're the ones who are willing to provide for us, to care for us, to protect us from danger, to send us out the back to safety when they go investigate the bump in the night. So they should make sure the woman that they are selecting is of good character and the caliber of woman that is their Mrs. Suave D says, too many modern women believe that their prime is infinite, and it's not. They don't act with urgency like Kevin Warren. That's why we're here, ladies. Your hair should be on fire. Or not, that's fine too, but we encourage you. Take it seriously. Yeah, ET says fake wife material, they can spot that. Yes, ladies, you're not fooling anyone. Not at all. Clue Channel says yes, yes, and yes. Rodney says so true. The dynamics between mothering and fathering is so different. That's why we need both. Not equal, absolutely equally valued. Absolutely. All right. The Condemned says, when most men become fathers, our work ethic is kicked into overdrive. We have a family to protect and provide for. So it pains us to see pregnant women in the workforce. We want her home nesting. Wow. I never thought about that. See so many women out, and that's fine. You have rights to do whatever, but even the man who's not your man wants to protect you because you're in that vulnerable state. What does that say about the patriarchy that you hate? I'll wait. Let us continue.
Which feminists say is a bad thing. This is one reason why I love your writing so much, is because you embrace these things, right? You embrace these things that we know are true, that we're told we need to run away from. And you're so right. Let me ask you this last question here, Suzanne, and I hope we can talk again and often. There's the lie from the left, from progressives, feminists, however you want to describe it, that if a woman were to embrace this traditional dynamic that we're talking about here, then they're taking the lesser role. Dispel that myth.
So that's really at the base of this whole thing, is the idea that the traditional roles, and once again, I need to qualify that by saying this isn't about strict traditional roles. This is about traditional-ish roles, because the world has changed so much and there is so much overlap, which is fine. But to understand the main structure being in place,
yes.
is to understand how men and women are designed to work in complementary fashion or in tandem toward a common goal. But they changed it to be that having a separate role means less than for the woman because she's not producing an income. Because for feminists, it's all about power. It's all about power. That's all they're concerned with. So in order to have power, the kind of power that they want, you need money and clout in the world. The kind of power that regular everyday women want is the power via their relationships at home. That's real power. And if you can keep those relationships strong via your family, via your marriage and your kids, you've won. As far as I'm concerned, you've just won. If it's all up in smoke, you know, you're never going to be able to get back. You're never going to be able to make up for that in the workforce, what you weren't able to do on the home front. So I mean, these are things that are never discussed, of course, by the folks in power because they have a completely different way of viewing the world and they sell a different message entirely, and it's screwing up people's lives.
Suzanne.
Yeah,
so
I want to come back. You're great.
Yeah. This is my attitude when I read your articles. I'm like, oh, that's good, man. Yeah. All right, awesome. Suzanne Venker. The website is.
I absolutely love that line about you're not going to be able to make up in the workforce what we are missing as women in our actual relationships. I see this so much in corporate America. And look, I work and have had big jobs and big titles and all of that, but my absolute proudest accomplishments have been having been a wife and being a mom. Nothing even holds a candle to that. All the pieces of paper on the wall and letters behind my name or certifications. But I love, love, love what she said about, you know, just who we are and how relationships are important to women. And I hope that you all were able to learn something from this. Don't let the lie that productivity, that is a very masculine trait, become what you count as your strength. And I'll leave you all with this. Talk to any man that you admire and ask him about his mom or grandma, or listen when he speaks about women that really meant a lot to him. I would bet money that it is not because they were working that extra shift. Maybe they were working or really, you know, making sure they had those big homes and, you know, vacations and all of that. Men really appreciate the women that bring the femininity and the love and the care into their lives, just as much as the dads who kept the lights on and kept everything running. So just remember that, ladies. That is actually, like she said, our superpower. That is our superpower, our femininity. What would you add, Lucy?
That is a great homework you give us, you give young women, to ask those men that you respectfully ask them their examples of a woman that they do respect. They're probably going to talk about walking home into their mom's house and knowing that smell of the favorite food that she was cooking, seeing the living room lit up for Christmas, all of those feminine things that they will remember that we can provide to them. It's just, that is something that they just look forward to. Unfortunately, I didn't have any children, but I think that if we did have children, I think, we talked when my husband and I first met, we were thinking about having, a one salary, a home, because I was going to stay home. And that's how men think initially. Unlucky or, lucky for us that didn't happen. I still work because what am I going to do here at home? I don't have kids. So I will probably drive him crazy with my nuttiness. But that's how it is. Men, for the most part, they want you home caring for the things that they treasure as men.
Absolutely. I want to see what you all are saying in the chat, but same thing. I've worked, I put myself out in front until 10 years and 2 kids later, I hated the position I had put myself in. And that was one of the things when my man sat me down, he said, I want you to be able to work part-time if you want to, take breaks off. The men that love us don't want to see us burning the candle at both ends. They'll tell us, just let it go if you have to. But ladies, that means again that we have to be able to live beneath our means and live on his salary and appreciate what he can do. Or not, you can have it your way. Let's see what Rodney says. Mothering is nurturing while fathering is disciplinary. Yes, and ladies, that discipline is so needed. I'm telling you, I was that mom, helicopter mom, calling the schools, extra time, extra credit, can we do this and that? And my ex-husband was like, if they want to do their work, they will. If not, I'll let them fail. For the gold star, Mom, can you imagine how that made me feel? And guess which approach worked? Not mine. So yes, ladies, do not intervene. Let the men discipline their children. Erin Laura says, great job to Marcus, Maggie. That's wonderful. Yes, we are very, very proud. E.T. says, minors in mind. Karens need to grow up. Rodney says, women should remember that good men don't throw away our old things held for decades like the women of our youth. That is so beautiful. I just want to park here for a moment. We're wrapping up, but ladies, if you are so fortunate to find love later in life, I know a lot of times, women who are past their prime are trying to, make the magic happen. Just know that it's not impossible. It's going to be harder for you. And it's going to take longer for you. Like Rodney says, men hold on to the decades and they remember our youth. So if you come into a relationship in your 30s and 40s and you're looking at someone who's been together for 20, 30 years and you're like, I want that treatment. I want that for my anniversary. I want that ring. The men are going to tell you, you haven't earned it. So you have to get in line. And oftentimes, ladies, you have to get at the back of the line. That is why we tell you to move like your hair is on fire while you have your youth and beauty, so that when you do become Lucy and my age, you can look forward to growing old gracefully with a man that cherishes you, because when you had the leverage, you chose to submit yourself to being a wife, his woman, when you didn't have to. That is how you get the reward. ET says, CEO, we need 18-year-old with 100 years of experience for 50 hours a day for free, 9 to 5. I'm not sure I understand that. Oh, was this a quote from the Feminist CEO? Okay, I must have missed that. But thank you for sharing. Rodney says, yes, Miss Maggie, the femininity of my granny still warms my heart. There's your homework, ladies. Ask them. Listen to the men. Hello Bangladesh. Thank you so much for being here. See, darling, coming in with the $9.99. Thank you so much. We appreciate the support. Yes, Rodney is the poet. So we will leave you all with that. Lucy and I are here twice a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays. We like to give you our take as two older women. Hopefully you found this helpful. This was a great video. So never marry a feminist, and hopefully you understand some reasons why. And I would just argue, ladies, I think especially as you age, you will be a lot happier embracing some of the more traditional roles that you fought when you were younger. What would you say to close us out, Lucy?
I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad our chat liked it. They love this topic. And we hope to continue sharing that information. Again, it's for those who want to make that change, who already live that life and, want to come along and join us sharing that wisdom. Maggie's wisdom is amazing. So I think Saturday, I don't know if I have a topic yet on Saturday. I'll send you something, Maggie.
Oh my gosh, you all are coming.
So I know. They're coming in hot.
Oh my gosh, y'all are coming in hot. Big thank you for the $20 super sticker. Thank you all so much. This is our heart to serve, to give. This is something that we do just because we care. Neither of us have daughters, and so this is really important. Thank you for the $20. We appreciate it so much. Thank you, Swab D, for the $10. Thank you, C Darling, for the $9.99. And so, yes, again, ladies, if you're interested in getting more teaching from Lucy and me, again, you can go to the link in the description. We do have an advanced course that is coming up called Wife Archetypes. This is going to be 4 weeks of teaching starting Saturday, November 2nd. You have lifetime access. We'll send you a workbook. We're going to talk about what is marriage, what is a husband, what is a wife. And if you believe in the Kevin Samuels archetypes for the hit squad, the Henry, and the high value, we're going to go over what those different caliber of men need so that you can be successful if marriage and long-term is what you want. Oh my goodness. Aaron, we have been abandoned by Thane. We have not been abandoned by Thane. Believe me, he watches us and he watches from the clouds. Yes. And I get his feedback all of the time. So I will let you all know. I'll let him know that you all asked for him. All right, everyone. So we will be back. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for listening and for all of the comments in the chat. We will see you all next Saturday with more. And until then, we will say adios.
Adios.